Hey y'all, what's going on? Like always, it's your boy Kel. And since Spider-Man Brand New Day, the fourth installment of the Spider-Man movies within the MCU is coming out this month, I thought for today's video we would step into the Spider-Verse and create a Spider-Man character-based team. So the idea of the Spider-Verse has always been stupid to me. Because if you think about it, you have the multiverse in Marvel and you have the Spider-Verse. The multiverse deals with all the dimensions and all the universes, parallel timelines, and all that good stuff, right? And so does the Spider-Verse. But while the multiverse deals with everything and everyone, the Spider-Verse just deals with Spider-Man related issues, Spider-Man related characters. And I think that's dumb because Spider-Man is known for being there for the little guy, protecting everyone. So for you to just say they're just going to deal with Spider-Man problems, that goes against what Spider-Man stands for, who he fights for. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a Spider-Man themed team of Spider-Man allies, and we're going to call them the Web Warriors. Now, for those who may not have known, the Web Warriors is an actual team within Marvel Comics. Conceptually, they're a team that first appeared in the Spider-Geddon Spider-Verse comic event where there had to be a whole bunch of Spider-Man from a set of different timelines and the universes to fight Ezekiel and the Inheritors. But I know them mainly from the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show series. And when they were introduced to me, it originally started like that when Spider-Man had to go across the different universes to save different Spider-Man from Ultimate Goblin. But in season 4, it turned out more to be more of just him recruiting Spider-Man themed characters and uniting them on a front. And you had characters like Amadeus Cho, who got the Iron Spider suit. You had Flash Thompson, who bonded with the Venom suit. Then you had Ben Reilly, well, sort of, kind of. We'll get into that later. Then you had, you just had different Spider-Man themed characters dealing with different Spider-Man themed things on a team. But because of how I feel about the whole Spider-Verse thing and my thoughts on it, the way we're going to recruit the Web Warriors is going to be more towards the season 4 version of Web Warriors, where we're going to put together a team of Spider-Man people, Spider-Man related allies, who are more like an operational Bat family, who can help Peter in times of need where, he has to deal with something, but he can't do it alone. Just like Batman, like when there's a big war in Gotham City, or there's a big solo person he needs help fighting against. Plus, this will also give us an opportunity to focus in and have more utilization for the different Spider-Man characters who I enjoy, who aren't particularly variants, while also giving them the path or the opportunity to learn more about the Spider-Man legacy, to take on the model of great power comes great responsibility, learn what it means to be a hero, and gain more prominence when it comes to the comics or show, whatever you want to do with them. Now, like I said, when it comes to a team like this, if the team is already made, y'all know sometimes I take characters that have already been in the team. Sometimes I take characters who haven't been in the team. I'm going to get this out the way right now. I'm not going to use Peter Parker, not using Black Cat, not using Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, because all of them have already been used. Where have they been used? I'm not going to tell you, because I actually do want you guys to check out the rest of my videos, and I want to get the views and hear your thoughts and everything. But yeah, we're not going to be using them, but we're still going to focus this team around, like I said, making sure it's a Spider-Man themed allied team. Another person we're not going to use Amadeus Cho. I've always hated Amadeus Cho. I always thought he was a douche. Now, y'all know me. I like arrogant characters, but his arrogance is so... I don't even know. I just don't like him. He's a douche. We're not going to use Flash Thompson as Agent Venom. Even though Agent Venom is one of my favorite Spider-Man mythos characters, we're not going to use him because I have plans to use him somewhere else. And I'm not even going to tell you who else we're not going to use. You'll see as we get into the video. But this team is going to have 5 main members with a 3-person support staff. Now, while none of the rules are really changing, we can't use these characters more than once and all of that good stuff. When I made the variation rule for no variants, this is the dream I had in mind because Spider-Man, when you look at Spider-Man variants, you have so many different Spider-Man because of the whole Spider-Verse thing. You have Peter B. Parker, Peter Benjamin Parker, Peter Parker from this universe, Peter Parker from that universe. And you guys know how I feel about time travel in the multiverse. It's so complicated. People don't know the rules. It's been used so many times. All that good stuff. I'm tired of the multiverse. But when I put this rule in effect, I forgot to take account that there are some Spider-Man and other variants who are based off of the current timeline and current universe, but aren't directly tied. And what I mean by that is, like Miles Morales or Miguel O'Hara, they're Spider-Man variants from different universes, but they're not Peter Parker. You feel what I'm saying? Even Peter Benjamin Parker, Spider-Man Noir, he's a Spider-Man from a different universe, but he's not Peter Parker because he's got a different name. His era is different. His whole mythos is different. The characters around him, how he got his powers and everything. So we can use characters like that, but if it's like a Peter Parker from 616 versus a Peter Parker from the new or the old Ultimate Universe, who are pretty much the same except when they got their powers, or how, one may be dating Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy and the other one might be just friends with Gwen Stacy. We can't use variants like that, if that makes sense. Also, I kind of want to define and condense the whole family team orient definition, because if you look at things like the Bat Family is so large because it's like, when you look at it truly, it's like, oh, everybody that helps Batman is a Bat Family member. I don't like that. I mean, yeah, you could take a page from Vin Diesel's book, because I truly do believe it, that blood doesn't define your family. Loyalty, love, support does. Family is chosen. But still, like, going to say everybody you interact with and everything is a part of your family, it's just, one, is naive. Two, it's redundant. Three, it's just messy. So when I say we're going to do a operational Spider-Man family, we're going to use people who are directly tied to Peter Parker, or who have some type of affiliation to him, whether it be blood or like some type of spiritual or emotional connection, to say that, hey, we are family by blood or family because of the loyalty and stuff like that, if that makes sense. And the first person we want to choose for this team, we're going to choose the Spider-Man character known as Kane, the first official clone of Peter Parker. Now, when it comes to the clones of Peter Parker, I originally intended and wanted to use both Ben Reilly and Kane, but Ben Reilly's story is so messy and so complicated. I'm just not going to bother, which is a shame because I really, really, really do love his uniform. But that's another story. But like I said, his story is so complicated. His origin, his background, his history. It's so messy that I'm just not going to bother. Plus, it looks like nowadays, and mostly throughout his history, he's leaning more towards being a villain than Kane has. So I'm going to choose Kane. But the reason I'm going with Kane and put him on this team is for a few different reasons. One, because I've always enjoyed the idea of an edgier Spider-Man. Like, when it comes to characters like Spider-Man and who else? Like, I don't know. When it just comes to characters like Spider-Man and characters like that who are more of a, I wouldn't say pacifist, but more of a peaceful person who won't really succumb to doing what needs to be done, I've always preferred the edgier versions, because I feel like with certain situations like Joker or Green Goblin or Carnage or whatever, you should do what you need to do. You should take the next step. You should go a little bit higher than your normal methods and not necessarily become the villain or necessarily scoot to their level, but you should be willing to do what you need to do to save the world and save yourself from less grievances and stuff. So I've always loved the idea of Kane. Plus, Kane's costume's not bad either, but that's not why I'm putting him on team. I just wanted to say that Kane's costume's not bad either. But his history is less complicated. Another reason I'm gonna put him on team because his powers are so versatile. Like, yeah, he's a Peter Parker clone and has Spider-Man's abilities, but he has a few other abilities, more or less, that makes him more of a useful member to have, as opposed to where you may have a character like Peter, due to the range of things he's able to do with the same type of powers that Peter have. Now, as far as the role on the team goes, due to his personality and mentality, he's going to be the one to add like a brutal edge, like I said, and grit. He's going to be like the brute and the muscle and the protector. And when it comes to his story and his arc and how it ties into the team and whatever, it's all going to lean towards to learning how to trust others and maybe a little bit insecurity, because you got to remember when I make these, it's not me taking them from a certain place in continuity or whatever. It's just me looking at their overall history and their overall personality and stuff, and using the accumulation of everything that they have gone through or that makes them, and putting them on a team like that. So he's still, he's been redeemed and everything, but maybe he's still learning about redemption, or maybe there's some insecurity there, or he has to learn how to trust others. Because no matter what, even after he got redeemed, he was still edgy. But more to the point, like, maybe he's still learning how to trust others. And if you look at every other member on the team, he's probably like the only one I've chosen who started off as a villain, or, one who may have been wishy-washy when it came to his morals. So that's why we're going to put Kane up here. And since we started off with a Peter Parker clone, I think it's only right that we use another character who is directly tied to Peter Parker in a way where she's not connected to his bloodline, she's not dating him, and she's not a clone. That's right, I'm talking about the girl that you can't stop banging, Cindy Moon. Now, Cindy has always been an interesting character to me. I mean, at first, to be honest, I didn't really want to put her on a team like this because I originally thought that she was untrained and unexperienced and rash and impulsive, and that she needed more training and stuff despite her age. But after doing some research and some reading, I found out that's not the case at all. Is she impulsive? Yes. Is she rash? She could be. But she's actually has had training and has had a lot of experience. And the idea of a female Spider-Man who is connected to the original, who has the same powers in a way, but where they may actually be stronger due to her being a female or her being able to use them differently, has always been interesting to me. And the idea that there is a girl or a person that the web of life and destiny has chosen for Spider-Man, who for all intents and purposes can be seen as a soulmate due to the simple fact that they were bitten by the same spider who gave them a connection and turned them into mutates when it came to this world. That's interesting, especially since that, they can't stop being together, but they don't want to be together, if that makes sense. That's always been an interesting development I've really wanted them to dive deeper into, but that's neither here or there. As far as why we're putting Cindy on the team, role wise, she's going to fill out the part of being the big and or little sister of the team, depending on who else you put on the team in relation to who you're looking at compared to her. She's going to be, the person who's the empathetic anchor, the one who truly cares, the one who is there emotionally for everybody, the one who holds everyone together as an individual and keeps the team together as a group, as a family. Because, in a way, with Kane up here, the group could be seen as a military force or a team or a connective tissue of necessity. But with someone who's empathetic, it could be a team that turns into a family or a support group or whatever. And I feel like her art could be more about acceptance and adaptation because while she's been out of, the Moreland prison Ezekiel hideout for a minute, like I said, she's still probably adjusting and learning to adapt, trying to find her own way out of Peter's shadow, learning to adapt to a world that she's been away from for what, 10 plus years. On top of the fact that, since that she was locked up in hiding, she had to grow up without her family. And when she got out, they were either dead or they have moved away, so she no longer has any connection to them. So while her overall dynamic on the team may be about putting it and holding it together, her individual art can be about her learning how to adjust and adapt into what's essentially a new world for her, similar to how Captain America had to adapt after waking up 70 years later. And it can also be about her coming to terms with the fact that she may not be alone anymore and learning that there's family in other things, that blood doesn't make you family, loyalty, support, and love does. And we can also see an angle where once she accepts that, she may be hesitant to get close because she's scared of losing this family as well. So that's why we're going to put Cindy Moon up here. And if I didn't mention it before, Cindy's moon name is Silk. So right now we have Kane, who, for all intents and purposes, he's called Kane. He's been called Tarantula and stuff, but there's another Tarantula, and I really don't like that name for him. I can make a name for him, which I probably will. I just gotta think about it as I make this video. Or we can keep him as Kane, or call him the Scarlet Spider. I might just keep him as Kane, but right now we have Kane and we have Silk. Leads us into number 3, Anya Corazon. Corazon, how do you pronounce her name? AKA Aranya, or simply better known as Spider-Girl. Now, I was originally not going to use Spider-Girl, but it ended up being the best option because I wanted to put another female up here. The other females I could think of, Ashley Bonnick, who is Spider-Man's great niece or granddaughter or whatever in the Old Man Logan universe, doesn't really have a lot to say about her. Plus, she seemed more like a villain in that universe, so I couldn't use her. Mayday Parker, don't know much about Mayday, so I couldn't use her. Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, I love her. She's one of my favorite Spider-Man characters, but that's the problem right there. She's not really a Spider-Man character. She may have Spider-Man character type of name, but she's not a part of like the web of life and destiny or whatever. Or at least she should be. So I couldn't use her. And every other Spider-Girl I could think of, like Madam Webs and stuff, either I don't like them, I don't know them, or I can't use them because they will then officially start to get into the whole shattered dimension Spider-Verse concept, if you know what I mean. And the reason I wasn't going to use Anya at first is because my only real knowledge of her outside of what I've researched and did for this video came from the 2017, 2018, whatever year it was, Disney animated Spider-Man show. And I did not like her attitude. She was a bitch. I mean, it's one thing to be arrogant. It's one thing to be cocky and confident. It's one thing to be smart and you want to fly it off. But she was a bitch. She was mean. She thought she was better than everybody. And then when things happened, she always had to find a reason to hate on people and blame them. I did not like her. But after doing research and stuff, I found out that her character arc is a little different within the comics, and so is her personality. So looking at what I got from the TV show combined with what I learned in my research through the comics, I figured we can use her in probably take the best of both ideas, if that makes sense. So we're going to put Anya on this team. And Anya, she's going to fill the position of being the grounded street level perspective of the team. You know, not only does she bring a journalist perspective from her time in the comics, but since we're also combining her version of the comics with her version of the TV show, she's also bringing experience and her confidence and ambition and her smarts from a science perspective in a way where dynamically she can be the voice of reason for the team between Kane and the others. When it comes to like Kane, she can question his decisions and choices. But when it comes to like someone like Cindy, she could be the person who balances the team chaos and who's relatable. Like she's tactical and relatable. And you know, she looks up to Silk, but she may challenge her at the same time. Like there might be like a friendly type of rivalry there due to, you know, them being so close in personality. Might be a rivalry or a competition for who's better, who's most favorite on the team, and stuff like that. So arc-wise, she can go from being a rookie to being more of a confident equal in showing her spark when it comes to like possible leadership and being a possible more mature version of the Spider-Girl character. So that's who our third member is going to be. And as you can probably tell by how lackluster that part of the video was, or how my voice and my toning seemed to shift, you can tell this is probably the character I enjoy the least or have the least amount of knowledge on, which is fair to say, and it's probably true, because like I said, I've always been interested in Silk. I've always loved Kane because of the edgier Spider-Man aesthetic, and with these next two members I am going to put on team, they're not typically main 616 Spider-Man characters, but I think that they're enjoyable enough, or their affiliation with Spider-Man is so strong that seeing that Peter Parker is in the 616 no matter what, that these last two characters could be used and put on the Spider-Man family. And with that being said, the first person I'm going to use out of the two is Genki. Now, for those who do not know, Genki is Miles Morales' best friend. And I'm not 100% sure, but I know that Miles Morales got transferred over to the 616. I'm not sure if Genki did, but we're going to use Genki in a way where, okay, so y'all know how people say when it comes to the MCU, Genki is just reformed as Ned Leeds. Okay, so that's basically the concept we're going to use, because Genki, when it came to Miles Morales, he was the man in the chair, but not only was he like a tech enthusiast and smart creatively when it came to tech, but he was really, really into superheroes and superpowers. He was a superhuman and superhero enthusiast to the point where he kind of inspired Miles to actually become Spider-Man, to learn how to use his powers, to do more training and everything. So instead of just putting him as a man in the chair, we're going to actually make him a hero. And the hero we're going to make him is the Iron Spider. Yeah, that's right. We're going to put him in the Iron Spider suit. Y'all know how I said Amadeus Cho was Iron Spider within, I'm pretty sure somewhere, somehow, he's probably Iron Spider in the comics somewhere. But when it comes to the Ultimate Spider-Man show, he was Iron Spider, but I did not want to use him because I hate Amadeus Cho as a character. We're going to basically do the same thing with Genki, except for one, Genki's not as smart as Amadeus, but it will be the same aesthetic, you know, putting someone who's creative and has some type of intelligence in the Spider-Man suit. and he's way, 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 way more passionate and likable than Amadeus. And another reason why I want to put him in an Iron Spider suit is because I feel like one of the tropes I've always hated was when superheroes or supervillains just get costume after costume after costume. Spider-Man has thousands and thousands of different uniforms. And while some of them are useful for him to have, like, oh, his uniform got ripped up, or this uniform has a different meaning or a different purpose, the Iron Spider suit is so versatile enough and so independent within itself that I don't think it could just be counted as another suit. It's like an Iron Man suit. It's a mech. You can use it as an actual character. So for him to just have it in his closet is a waste. So we're going to use it as an actual suit and put Genki in there, and Genki's going to be our new Iron Spider. Now, as far as what type of dynamic Genki will have and what role he will fill on the team, of course he's going to be the man in the chair and the tech support dude on the field. But he's also going to be the wet-nosed rookie. Of course, he's going to suit up not only because he thinks it's an honor and it's fun, but he suits up because he sees the danger. He sees that more heroes are needed. And when it comes to other people on the team, he may, eventually come to bond with Kane because him and Kane both feel overshadowed. Or, he may look up to Kane, but he may get frustrated with his type of anger. He may have fun banter with Anya in a way that it leads into a sparky friendship or turns into some type of intimate relationship where feelings grow. Or they bond closer as siblings. Or it could be any of those. Maybe him and Silk will have a big brother, little sister type of relationship. Or maybe they bond over, not being seen as well versed or as good as their mentors or the originals, them being seen only as copies or fake replicas of the original Spider-Man. Or, maybe it's just like with Kane will have like an older brother type of relationship with him where he's watching out for him, but directly he's harsh with him in a way like, if you keep playing around, you don't take it seriously, you get yourself killed. But overall, his arc could be about proving himself or wanting to find his worth and not just being seen as Miles' guy. Even though we're not using Miles on the team, like I said, Miles is a Spider-Man in the 616, and he's closely affiliated with Peter. And seeing that he's Miles' guy, he could be like the recommended person on the team for Miles or the Miles substitute, but his arc could be about not being seen as Miles substitute, if that makes sense. His arc could be about not just being Miles' guy in the chair, but proving that he himself is a worthy hero. He himself, hero or not, powers or not, is a great guy, is a great person to have on your side. So that's why we're going to put Genki up here. And speaking of the Ultimate Spider-Man show, I don't know if I mentioned it before when it came to Kane, but like I said, Ben Reilly was on the show in a way, but even though it's not stated and I didn't look it up to check, I'm pretty sure though he was Ben Reilly in name, costume-wise and power-wise and the arc and everything, like how he was redeemed and he was a spy and the type of powers and stuff he had, he may have been Ben Reilly in name, but I'm pretty sure that Ben Reilly / Scarlet Spider on the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show was technically Kane. But because, Ben Reilly is the one that's more prominent and well known, they called him Ben Riley. But anyway, though, like I said, we're using the Kane aspect. I just want to get that clear and stated, just in case, people didn't know or it was brought up in the comments or something. And once you look at that, with 4 members down, that means we only have one more to go. And this next one I'm pretty hyped for. I'm just gonna get up there right now. This next one, we're gonna use Richard Parker II. Now, I'm not sure if Richard Parker II has ever appeared before the new Jonathan Hickman line of Ultimate Spider-Man. I know that the first and the original Richard Parker is the father of Spider-Man, who we don't get much on because Richard died when Peter was young. But like I said, Richard Parker II, or Richard Jr., as we will call him in this video, is the son of Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker and Mary Jane, within the new line of Ultimate Spider-Man comics within the Ultimate Universe, or the new Ultimate Universe that was created by Jonathan Hickman and I believe Donny Cates. Now, this Richard Jr., while we don't get much on Richard the First because of the death and everything, Richard Jr. seems very interesting for a new character. Maybe it's because he's in the new Ultimate Universe. Maybe it's because it's by Jonathan Hickman and he loves fleshing out characters. Maybe because it's by Donny Cates and he's great. Who knows? I don't know what to tell you. But y'all know how I feel about young heroes. Sometimes it's a hit or miss. This one was definitely a hit. Richard Jr. is so interesting, and I don't even think it's based on his connection due to Peter. It may be based on the stories around him and the dynamic of how his character is being used. And what I mean by that is, if you did not know, within the new Ultimate line of Spider-Man comics, Richard Jr. is basically Peter from the 616 line of comics when Peter had the black symbiote suit. Instead, the way that Richard has it, it isn't the symbiote. The Venom suit he has, which is the black Spider-Man suit that Peter has, is not a symbiote suit, but it is a suit that is known as Pigotech, which is more or less a nanotech version of a suit that is sentient. But unlike Peter in the 616, when he was connected to the symbiote, Richard doesn't seem to go emo or aggro. There's no Billy Maguire type of scenes where he's slapping bitches around. There's no dig on this moments and weird street dances. He's not falling asleep and the symbiote's controlling him or nothing. No. It's none of that. In fact, the suit in itself, while it's sentient and basically a refined version of the Venom symbiote for this universe, it seems to really bond with Richard in a way that's cohesive and that's actually not even a symbiotic relationship. That's more of a relationship that's more of a guardian and protective type of thing. It's a suit. Think of it like Superior Iron Man suit. It's a suit that protects him. That's it's AI essentially and sentient, but it covers him. But it's also able to do things like form its own identity if it needed to fool people. It's able to change the suit's appearance, interface with different types of technology. So the way I'm explaining it, we can obviously see that eventually this will go down the line somewhere and become evil possibly. But right now, it's very versatile and very unique. And like I said, it seems to want to protect Richard. In fact, there is a scene within one of the issues where Peter's talking to it. And it's basically a conversation where he's like, no matter what, I want you to keep my family safe. So when Peter's missing, the suit takes on the form of Peter to make it seem like Peter's still around. When Peter's not around, he's protecting the kids. And then when Richard takes up the mantle, he's taking up the mantle. Now the name he uses with Spider-Man when Spider-Man's not around, but when he is around, I can't think on the top of my head what they call him. I don't know if it's like Spider Boy. I don't really like that, and I don't want to use the word Venom because even though Venom's not a person, it's a code name. I can use it again, but seems that I already have a Agent Venom plan, and then I already have a Venom and Eddie Brock. I don't want to keep using the Venom code name. So just like when it came to Kane, I'm probably going to think of another name to give him by the end of this video. So we're going to put him up here for that reason, as well as putting him up here in that sense. But we're also going to put him up here because, like I said, he is tied to Peter Parker directly through his bloodline, even though it is a different Ultimate universe. It is a different universe outside of 616, but it will give nuance to the team that will actually seem like, hey, this actually is a Spider-Man based type of family. It will bring a legacy angle to it, and it will also add more of a family type of angle to it, where it's like, okay, look, now we have another younger sibling, in the sense where, Kane's the oldest, and after Kane, the oldest person you have is Cindy. So we can have the two younger brother-like members, two younger family members, being Genki and Richard, and stuff like that. Now, as far as the dynamic goes and the role he would fill, this is probably going to be the most controversial spot in terms of his correlation to other characters, in a way where it's not going to be contradictive or it's not going to be chaotic, but in a way certain plot points and certain stories can be, such as, for starters, look at who we're dealing with. Look who we're dealing with now and every other member on the team. And what I mean by that is the first two people and the main two people I want you to look at are the first two people we chose to recruit for this team. Kane and Cindy. We have a clone of Peter Parker, and we have a girl that Peter Parker can't help but fuck. You have a guy who looks like the father of the dude we're dealing with right now, and the girl who, by all forms of measurement, is tied spiritually, biologically, pheromone-wise, chemically, and all of that, to his father. So you can't tell me you can't see storylines where Richard isn't disturbed by the way he has to look up to Kane, who's not really his spider, and feel some type of betrayal, or where he has to deal with Kane's harsher methods and he gets irritated and frustrated, and there's some type of disrespect or something there because he's like, this isn't who my father is, this is not what Spider-Man is being about, you're disrespecting the name and everything, you're nothing but an imposter, blah 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 this. Or where he may have a problem with Cindy because it's like, you're the reason my dad and my mom are always fighting. You're trying to replace my mom. You're not my mom. Stop trying to tell me what to do. Even though she's looking at him like a little brother or something. And even if you don't want to look at it like that, other plots can be seen where he, bonds with Genki and Anya. And maybe he finds a relationship with Anya. And he finds like a best friendship or a friendly rivalry with Genki. Because in the Ultimate Comics, he's not a genius. I mean, he's not dumb by any means. But he's not a genius. He's up there, but he's not like up there. He's not like baseline smart, but he's not like Valeria Richards or, Stewie smart either. So whereas more like him and Anya can probably be the ones to have a relationship or have the witty, fun banter, him and Genki could end up being more like brothers and best friends, or being the ones who work together due to their minds being so in contact, with Genki having more of a creative and chaotic angle, and Richard having more of a realistic, scientific, and cautious approach to his methods. But as far as any other type of dynamic or arc goes, his arc could be about, legacy, coming to terms with what the legacy of Spider-Man means, making his father proud, following the legacy, teaching the others about the legacy, taking on the ideals of what it really means. For great power comes great responsibility, while still trying to forge his own path. Because that's something that I think a lot of legacy characters have to deal with. Honoring the ones that came before you and the ones that you're supposed to be following, but still forming your own identity while not trying to corrupt what you're trying to represent. So that's something that he can do. And yeah, like I said, as far as connections with other people, it could be one where he has to face the expectations of his father while still looking at Kane, who is in all intents and purposes his uncle, but at the same time, he may not look at it like that. He may see it as him still being a Peter Parker impersonator or corrupting the Peter Parker name. And he may still see Cindy as, who knows, he could see her as a big sister, or he could try to figure out like what's really going on with him and his mom and stuff like that. Is my mom really right for dad, or is Cindy, what's going on? Like I said, he's smart. He's smart, and he is emotionally and mentally like stable, and he's one who really contemplates things. So he's when it comes to the team, he's the one who's the most idealistic and the purest at heart. The one who really takes in the concepts of morality and ethics and stuff. But he's also the one who has a lot of questions and ponders the philosophies of others and the aspects of the world. So that's what we're going to use and do for Richard Jr. And like I said, for him and Kane, I'm trying to come up with names as I'm going through this video. And if I come up with names, we'll state them at the end of the videos when I do the wrap up. But yeah, you guys, that is our Spider family, our Web Warriors team. So to look at it, we have, okay, so I don't know if I want to use Kane or Silk as my leader. And honestly, I can use both. There's precedence for both. Seeing that they are both the most experienced on the team. However, experience doesn't equal leadership qualities. It doesn't equal, compassion and all that. But if we put Silk on the team as the leader, the team's dynamic goes from one of hope guiding discipline, but with Kane as a leader, it goes from discipline learning hope. And I feel like all of these characters have discipline somehow, so I don't think learning discipline is needed. So I feel like that works. And also the family dynamic becomes richer because instead of a big sister team, it's like a grumpy uncle or a big brother kind of team. And it will be a chance to warm the heart up of Kane. So with that being said, I think Kane is going to be my leader. And speaking of Kane, and when it comes to his name, let's just call him Kane. There's plenty of villains and heroes in fiction who just use their name as their code name as well. Sure. So we're just, I don't know. We can call him Dark Spider, I guess. I don't like that. I really don't like Tarantula. I mean, we could use Scarlet Spider, because I don't think I've ever used Minority again. Look,
the point of the matter is, it doesn't matter what codename we use, because codenames can be reused. Codenames are mantles and stuff. It's the actual secret ID, an actual person that we can't use over again. So whether you call him Kane, Scarlet Spider, or whatever you want to call him, just know that Kane is my leader and we can't use Kane again. My second in command is going to be Silk. The third person on my team is going to be Anya Cortisone as like the grounded anchor. The fourth person on the team is going to be our tech genius or our tech boy, man the chair, Genki as Iron Spider. And then our fifth member is going to be the legacy bearer. Even though they're all technically legacy bearers, but the true child of Spider-Man, who is Richard II. And what you look at that, guys, I'm proud of myself. Why? Because we did exactly what I said we would do. Not only did we make a 5-member team, but we ended up using members who aren't so distinct from Peter's connective circle. We didn't like have to spread it all out and do, oh, this person's on Spider-Man, this person's on Spider-Man, just like they do with the Bat family. We was actually able to condense it to a family-like team where, you know, Kane is the clone of Peter and his pseudo brother. Genki is Miles' man in the chair, and since Miles is Peter's, you know, mentor, for all intents and purposes, Genki is also Peter's mentee and his person in the chair. Richard is his blood son, and with Silk, he's more or less the soulmate, if you want to call it that, of Silk. Even with Anya, who I really did not want to use and really didn't like, even she has a connection to Spider-Man, because in the TV show, she was friends with Peter and she went to school with him. But when she learned about Spider-Man, he took her under his wing. He trained with her. He helped her. And in the comics, he helped her, showed her the ropes and everything. So she's even like a protege, just like Genki. So guys, we was able to do exactly what we aimed to do. But you would know, if you were paying attention to the beginning of the video, that we are not done, because now we have to do our support staff team. And like I said, for the support staff team, we're only going to do 3 members. And the first member we're going to look at and choose, we're going to choose Aunt May. Now, before I chose Aunt May, I had a difficult decision to make. Did I want to use Aunt May, or did I want to put this in like a version where Uncle Ben was alive? And I said I'm going to go with Aunt May for a few reasons. One is because outside of the few, you know, views and flashbacks we had with Uncle Ben, we never really seen him. And when we do see him, he's given a morality and responsibility type of guideline, to the point that if we did choose him, it would go more into that hope leading into discipline sort of field. And it would be more like him leading a unit on a mission instead of being a family. Whereas if we use Aunt May, she basically raised Peter. She's raised Peter in a way where she's like a mom, so she knows what it takes for like mental peace and emotional and spiritual guidance and refinement. So she could be like the mother figure and mentor to people like Kane, who comforts him. She could be like a mom figure to Genki. She could be someone who bonds and helps Silk and Anya grow into better women and things. So we're going to use Aunt May as our first support staff character. And she's going to be like the advisor slash the mentor slash the family anchor and mediator of the group. Now, as for our second person, we're going to use Robbie Robinson. Why? Honestly, the only reason I can think of is because I really like Robbie. Like, I love Jane Jonah Jameson, but I would put him on team like this. A team, whether it be so chaotic and corrupted, it would be funny to see, but I wouldn't do it. But Robbie, he's been more of an advocate in Peter's corner the whole time, where a lot of people would say, no, 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 Spider-Man's a menace, Spider-Man's this, Spider-Man's that. Robbie would say, but the facts say this. Let's look at the facts, and he will be more of a person who wasn't biased, who wasn't basing his opinions on prejudice or bigotry. He would look for the facts. So not only could he be a good propaganda standpoint, but he can also gain like intel due to him being a reporter. He can gain intel and pass hints and stuff around and put together pieces and notes and puzzles. And he could be like an advisor, but not from like an emotional standpoint. From more or less, he could be an advisor that's more of a political standpoint, if that makes sense. And then the third person we are going to use is Anna Maria. Now, again, just like Aunt May, I had to decide, did I want to use Anna Maria, did I want to use Grady, or did I want to use Max Modell? Max Modell I'm going to use somewhere else. I'm not even going to go into all of that. I'm just going to use Max Modell somewhere else. Grady will kind of be redundant, seems that he's not a genius, but he's tech creative. But seems that we have a person like Genki on the team, it would be kind of redundant. But seems that we have people who aren't really genius level on the team that are still, smart and still, you got an investigator and you got kids who are suave and you got tech nerds and stuff. Putting Anna Maria on the team will give it more of a defined scientific standpoint where she can help the others grow mentally, she could challenge them intellectually, and she could be the actual person who gets more probable and realistic science done and help in situations in a more mature and definitive way, as to oppose where if you had someone like Genki or Richard making the tag and stuff, if that makes sense. So those are our 3 support staff members, and that is our Spider-Man family, the Web Warriors. See guys, and even look at that. Even within the support staff, we still chose members who were connected to Peter. Aunt May being his aunt, Robbie he's worked with for years, and is a close confidant, and Anna Maria, she's one of the only few people who knows his identity, and she's helped him on the field. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about my Web Warriors. Oh, and that's another thing. Everybody except for like Genki and support staff and even Richard due to him being a new character has been under the Web Warriors in some iteration, whether it be within the Spider-Geddon Spider-verse event, the actual Web Warriors comic book series, or on a TV show. But like I was saying, anyway it goes, let me know what you guys think of my team. Who is your favorite Spider-Man hero character? What are your expectations and stuff for Spider-Man Brand New Day? And yeah. Oh, one more thing. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments, how did the audio come out for this? Because usually when I record on my tab because the audio is cleaner. I can do more editing and stuff. But for this video, I used my phone. And my phone has a case on it and all the other good stuff. So let me know how the audio came out. I mean, tonal wise, I know my tonal shifts because unlike most people, I don't have an editor. Unlike most people, I don't do these audio recordings all in one shot. And unlike most people, I definitely don't do them in one shot because I have other stuff to do and I have another job. So of course with me doing all the stuff during the day, being home and everything, and having other jobs, I do them before I go to work and when I get off of work. And based off of the day, I'm tired and all the other stuff, but I still try to put my own type of work in when I'm at home. Also, another thing is, most people have a private, secluded recording space, or they live alone, or something. I do not. So sometimes when I'm recording, I have to be real careful of how loud I get, so I won't disturb everybody else in the house. So let me know how the volume came out. I mean, I try to adjust the volume, like I listen to it and try to adjust the volume and everything, but still, even if the volume's not off, Let me know how it came out. Like, did it sound muffled? Did you hear background noises? Let me know. Cause this is the only video. No, it's not the only video I did with my phone. I did another video with my phone, and that was, I believe, my Avatar Republic City Council video, and I did that one with my phone. But I was definitely in the house when I did that, and I was by myself, and I think I did it in one shot. But yeah, I'll do like one more, two more videos on my phone without the case, and y'all can let me know like if y'all can see a difference or not. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about the tone and the voicing and everything when it comes to me doing it on my phone. Because if it doesn't work out, if y'all don't like it, or if I feel like it's better on my tab, I'll just stick to tab. I only use my phone because I feel like it was better. And when I was out, I didn't have to like wait till I got home. I could just start recording. But yeah, anyway goes, y'all know what it is. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Deuces.